right, guys, here we go. First podcast. I got some cool guests here with me and some guests here watching, but we've been thinking about doing this podcast for a long time, and we threw this thing together, and I think this is one of the things I want to cover today is just making shit happen.
Yeah.
But Jefferson Rogers with you. I'm going to be hosting the podcast. We're going to be doing this thing every single week. I'm fully committed, and I got all these people around me that I'm telling. I'm making some big goals for 2021, and podcast is one of them. Am I sticking my hand right in my line of sight here?
No, you're fine. You go ahead. You guys keep talking. I got to do some stuff.
Right on. So I got Mr. Blake Norton here with me, Jared Everett, and I got my wife, Shandeli, Mitch, and we lucked out and got some good help with Mallory overrunning the sound today. Thank you, Mallory.
You're welcome.
And here we go. Episode number 1. Let her rip, boys. All right, J-Rod. So I got some I had a couple ideas, and then I had a lot of cool shit happen to me today that's going to help us out with some content for episode number 1.
Awesome.
So I'm sitting here in my nice dinner shirt. We just got done with doing dinner over at Guru's here in St. George, Utah. And you heard of the $100 dinner club?
I think I have. It's Jimmy Rex on. I think he does it on his Instagram. So you tip $100.
Yeah. So my wife hit me up the other day, and I've seen Jimmy Rex do a couple of these all over the place. And there was a post. This guy named Brent Skinner. Shout out to Brent Skinner. He put one together in St. George, and he just put a post together and said, "Hey, you know, I know you guys, a lot of you have seen what Jimmy Rex is doing with the $100 dinner club. We want to do one here in St. George." And my wife kind of took care of it for us. And what you do is you send in $100 beforehand, so they got the money ready. Like I guess you can show up with money. One dude that we were sitting with showed up with money, but everybody else paid beforehand. And then you go eat dinner and you act like nothing's happened. This is just like a networking event. We're doing some weird shit that these waitresses and waiters aren't really used to seeing, with 30 people there, and we're all standing up and talking about who we are and what we do and why we're here. And part of this thing just kind of be a little bit vague, so they didn't pick up on what we're doing.
So you guys had 30 people over there?
30 people.
Oh, wow.
So we had a little round table and then 2 big rectangular tables. And it was fun.
And so do you pre-order your food?
So no, you just go in and it's kind of...
You just already give them that $100 tip already, and then you just order whatever?
So you're there just acting like this is another big group of people going to eat dinner.
Just another day in
They
paradise.
have no fucking idea. So we're all the way to the end of this thing, and I'm still not sure how this thing's going to play out. Like, did they pick up on what we were saying, or how are they going to present this money to them? And this girl, her name is Lauren. She was kind of flustered. Like, this is a big group. Typically, you get a table with 12 people on it. You got a little bit of help. You got one person serving this end, one person serving the other end, and she's doing this whole thing. I mean, she has absolutely no idea. And we get to the end of it, and everybody divvies up the money. They're having us count it to make sure that we split it evenly between the tables. And Brent stands up, and he brings them over, and he says, "Want to just talk to you guys about something. This is something that this is why we do it. This is why we're here." And he has 2 envelopes full of money, and he tells them that all of these people donated $100 each, including these 2 little 16-year-old kids over here that wanted to contribute. And here's $1,325 for you, and $1,325 for you.
Holy cow.
To these people, I mean, I serve tables, and I rarely ever left with $100 in a night. $1,300, this girl starts breaking down in tears.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the other guy comes back after, 5 or 10 minutes and letting this thing soak in a little bit. and he tells us a story about being in recovery, being sober for 7 months. He's in rehab in one of the halfway houses, and is just yesterday they get a hold of him and say that you got 24 hours to figure out how you're going to cover this $1,000 bill because your funding didn't come through, and we can't keep you here for free.
Holy cow! I just got chills from that. That's amazing.
So yeah, it was pretty cool. You never know how that stuff's going to play out, and for something like that to happen, to impact this guy's life. And the other girl never really came back. She was one of the people that were with us said they caught her in the kitchen jumping up and down, celebrating with one of the other waitresses that were there. But that's the kind of stuff that's the kind of groups of people that I want to be around, and the kind of stuff that I want to be a part of, the stuff that helps you make an impact on other people's lives.
Absolutely. And is much as that helps them, it helps you as well, Yep. That fulfillment. So say the other day, I had a friend, he's going through a hard time. He just got out of jail. He's in a halfway house. It's one of my friends from a long time ago. So he hits me up and he's like, man, I got a job framing. Do you have like any tool bags or anything I can use? And I was like, well, yeah, I have bags, but all my tools are in my bags. And I'm thinking, and I know he's got a birthday coming up, and I'm like, I'm just going to get him a brand new set of bags. So called him up, was like, hey, man, what are you doing right now? He's like, oh, nothing. I'm come pick you up. We're going to go get you some bags. So we went, and he's like, well, I really wanted the strap ones. So I got him $90 bags, and then I got him a $30 hammer. And he didn't know what to say. He was just like, I don't know what to say. I was like, just get yourself in a position where you can pay it forward so you can help someone else. As much as this is helping you, it helps me just the same, if not more, because I'm in a position to help and it feels good. And I know you need it. So understand how important it is to accept the help that you need when it's offered, because that was a lesson I had to learn the hard way. Dealing with being sick and all this, I mean, we really had to lean on friends and family, and I had to accept the help. I had no other choice. And it was really humbling and put me in a position just to put everything aside, whatever it was, accept the help and be grateful for it and happy for it and understand how important it is when I'm in a position to help someone else. Mm-hmm. So pretty awesome, man.
That is cool. How we looking over there, guys?
We're looking okay. Something's up with the live stream, so it's not going live right now. So we can either stop right now, just keep this little file recorded. Give me 5 minutes, and I can get us up live. That's what I think we should do.
Okay. Yeah, let's take a break.
Facebook streaming, but YouTube's.
Oh, Facebook streaming. Okay.
Is Facebook working?
Is Facebook working?
What's up, all my Facebook people? At least we got one of them working. You know what? Fuck it. Let's keep going with Facebook because nobody's watching on YouTube anyways.
Sure.
We'll get some more practice on YouTube later.
J-Rod, do you know?
2 subscribers. All right. We're off to a good start.
Do you mind telling everybody in the JKR crew so we can get the whole team on? Just check out Jeff's Facebook. How's the stream looking, though, Mitch?
I'm not on Facebook, but I was trying to get on YouTube.
Oh, can you pull up? Let's
she's got the Facebook right here.
Okay, so the Facebook's looking good then.
It's even got mine.
Hey, look, that's me on Facebook.
How's it look, babe?
Chandel, do you have earbuds or earphones? No.
Here,
Okay.
let me see if I can pull it up on my computer.
Yeah, mine's not pulling up because I don't have the Facebook app.
Yeah.
Whose Voxer's going off still?
I have no idea. I put mine on.
I don't think it's mine.
Is that mine, honey?
Is it a tablet? You got it hooked up to a tablet or something?
That could have been mine. I'm just powering off my phone. I don't give a shit.
What's that? Oh, no. It's working. It's working. All right, boys.
So I'm getting
rolling right along.
I'm getting some Voxers from the team. What are they saying? It's working for me on Facebook, says Andrew. So I think that's all we need. That's all we need.
Let's just do that on Facebook.
Right
We're
on.
learning.
Yeah, we're learning as we go. This is round one of many. So we'll get this thing dialed in.
We are students of this thing called life, is what we like to call it.
And what's funny about Gurus is that's where Blake and I went out to eat when he just conversationally mentioned that Mallory can be like an audio engineer.
Yeah.
And then I was like, talk to Jeff tomorrow. He's got all the equipment.
Yep.
Apparently, magic is in the air at Gurus.
That's right.
Yeah, they got some good vibrations going on over there.
Some good vibes.
And a couple of servers going home happy tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then
Absolutely.
that's where Blake took me out in the parking lot and busted some JKR raps for me.
Yes. One of these episodes, we're going to have to do some raps. You guys got to get brushed up a little bit.
Yeah.
And I hear you got some actual
Raps.
JKR Windows raps.
Raps. Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, they're legit. He's got beats and everything for him.
I can only rap comically. I can't I'm not serious. I can't be like 8 Mile. Like, my palms are sweaty, and mom's spaghetti and shit. Like I'm not.
No, it's
can't.
funny. Yeah,
I can't take
It's
myself
funny.
seriously, so it's got to be.
I love
comedic.
that, though.
Yeah,
That's a perfect fit for JKR Windows raps.
dude. I know. We're just
Especially
a bunch
Blake
of
raps
goofers.
because Blake's like pretty funny dog.
Thanks, man. I mean, I just like to goof off, man. We're just goofing. We're just goofers.
Yep.
We're just goofing.
I think that's probably how these first couple 4 or 5 episodes are going to be. We're just goofing until we figure this thing out and we come up with a name for it.
Dude, yeah.
Because I kind of like the idea of Mr. Jefferson Rogers neighborhood and having some Mr. Rogers neighborhood music come on and transition into some cool rock music or something.
Yeah.
Just as long as the copyrights check out, you know.
Let's if you're watching this on Facebook, go ahead and shoot us some ideas. We'll go through the chats in a little bit and
Yeah.
see what people are saying. But let's if you guys have some pen and paper or something, just let's take a moment and just write down a couple topics that we want to discuss. They can be fucking anything. Anything you want. Anything you want to be.
I got a good one.
All right, hit us with it.
So we've been everybody's kind of interested in real estate right now, right?
Absolutely.
So real estate market is booming. And I was talking to a couple guys tonight, even at dinner, they're trying to get on the bandwagon with the real estate again. Even a couple of them after getting their asses handed to them in 2008 and 9.
Like me.
Did you?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, elaborate.
Oh, my wife is telling me not to click the pen.
Oh, yes.
Well, yeah, I bought
whatever you do
a
with your hands.
house in Las Vegas when I was 20 years old.
Lost
2008.
wages?
Lost wages. But yeah, within 2 years of purchasing the home, it went from $250,000 to $120,000, and the company I worked for also went out of business. So I found myself, I was making over $50 an hour. Everything was good. Young man, owning a house and all this.
That's an exciting time in life.
Oh, it was exciting, especially in Las
Go ahead
Vegas.
and get your ass handed to
Yep,
you.
and then I got my ass handed to me. Next thing you know, I was living in an apartment and on unemployment. Mm-hmm. And, it was valuable lessons, though, and I'm glad that it happened at such a young age, at 20 years old, because most people don't buy a home when they're that young. So it just kind of let me understand, don't live to or beyond your means. You really have to be careful with the money that you spend. Obviously, you got to get your money working for you. You can't just sit on it. Mm-hmm. But in terms of just buying this or buying that, because I would be.
I bet that was fucking
New shoes
painful
all
to
the
go
time.
through at the time.
It was bad.
But looking back now, what kind of impact did it really have on you?
It just made me a little bit more careful with my money and more measured with the purchases that I make. I mean, I'll still have nice stuff, but it's like only if I need it. If I need something, I'll get it. I'll make sure it's something that's good quality and it's going to last me. But things in excess, I avoid. Especially
You still got a little bit of pain tied to that.
Yes and no. It sucks because say this was 14 years ago, I'd already be close to halfway through a 30-year mortgage, equity, this and that. All I had to show for it was bad credit for 7 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But would you go back and do it any different?
What's funny is before I bought the truck, before I bought the house, I was sitting there because I had this little Honda Civic, like 1980 something little hatchback stick.
Hell yeah.
And I was commuting back and forth from St. George, but the time I stayed in Vegas, I was over by Nellis Air Force Base in these trailer parks. And I was staying in this fifth wheel behind a trailer. Mm-hmm. And I remember sitting in there, I'm like, okay, so I'm thinking about getting this truck, thinking about getting this house. What if I just stacked my cash? What if I did that? I didn't do it because everybody that I respected at the time, they're like, oh, you making plenty of money? Yeah, get a truck. Oh, you're 20 years old, you bought a house? Hell yeah. Like, I was on this pedestal.
Careful where you get your advice from, too,
yeah.
right?
And it was all the people I respected at the time, So it really kind of knocked me off my pedestal because I thought I was the shit. I had everything going. On top of that, I mean, I was best shape of my life. I mean, I hadn't missed a workout for like 3 years. So everything was going good. And then all of a sudden, boom.
Just like that. It
Just
can
like
happen.
that.
Bam.
So I've got these papers sitting on my desk right here, and this is actually a real estate deal that I'm doing some due diligence on to see if it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So similar things can happen in anything in life if you aren't educated and you aren't ready for a decision like that and you haven't spent the time doing the research. So on this deal right here, I've already got lots of of course, I got lots of questions, but this person that I got this information from it's got a history in my mind of being kind of one-sided on the deal. Like for me and for us, I think we're a lot about like win-win situations, and that's not always the case when you're getting into business with people. Like, most people are kind of in for themselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the more you're around real estate, the more you'll hear about when people go and shop deals before they ever pull the trigger on a deal. They're looking at 50 to 100 to 200 deals to pull the trigger on 4 or 5 deals.
Yeah.
So in the beginning, it's kind of interesting the way your mind plays tricks on you. Like, I got this deal in front of me. I'm pretty excited. Now I'm in a place where people are bringing these deals to me and talking to me about $1 million deals. And it's still super important to make sure that you're going through the numbers and you get the rent rolls and you're looking at all the expenses and making sure that it pans out and you got the cash flow that you need and you got the tenants in place that are going to be paying the bills while the thing is still requiring a mortgage payment every month, so you're not coming out of pocket.
Mm-hmm.
So on this one, it's a commercial property. It's a gigantic property. It has three tenants. And if this one big tenant, the chances of them going out of business or not paying their rent is pretty small, and they've got a lease in place for like the next 8 years. But if that one tenant goes away, it's basically 70% of the money being produced by this property. And then it's just like owning a single family home and renting it out. If not in St. George, the market's not going to go on housing, but if it were to, and you get all your money tied up into this one investment, and you're only relying on one door, and that person checks out, and then you have a big flood or something, now you're having to pay for flood, repairs,
and
plus
no
you're having to
income.
cover the mortgage with no income, nobody helping you.
Leaves you scrambling.
Yeah,
Leaves you
no
scrambling.
income from the property coming. You might have, you're just tapping into other
It's
income.
outcome at that point.
It's outcome.
So, one of the guys that I talked to tonight said that he ended up, when everything took a hit in 2008 and 9, he ended up with 12 houses that they were right in the middle of doing construction on that he was tied into because of loans and
Damn.
and all kinds of stuff that he didn't tell me the whole story, but I imagine he got his ass handed to him.
Yeah.
A lot of people did.
But there's other asset classes that you can get into, like the multifamily, where you're talking about 8, 10, 20, 30. This deal that I just got done closing on December 30th was 237 doors. So even if half the people leave, we've still got enough to cover the mortgage,
Yeah. So you're not going negative.
and so we're not going negative.
Yeah, and see, I'm a lot more interested in multi-dwelling units and things like this as compared to just single-family home, And I actually have a situation right now where, so my mom lives in California, and they have 5 acres where she lives, and they're behind. So there's 2 houses on the property, and then they run a dog kennel off the property as well. And they're trying to work it to where basically if I can pay because they're a year behind on the mortgage, if I can pay that difference and take over payments, they'll sign the whole thing over to me. So it's got to make sense, and I've already laid it out. Like, look, because my mom's rent's paid because she runs the dog kennel, and I'm like, well, that business doesn't necessarily have anything to do with me. So like, you're gonna have to pay rent, and probably to do so, you guys are gonna have to up your fees for the dog kennel, because as personal as it is for me to take the property because of this and that, I got to be business oriented, and I got to make sure I have my income and that I have cash flow from it. It's not me paying all this money and then taking on this payment so everybody can kind of live for free until they figure it out. No, it's got to be a business deal. So if we can work it out that way, I would be happy to pull the trigger, but I feel like there's some more due diligence that needs to go into play.
Yeah, the
before
more of
some-
those deals that you look at too, the more you kind of got a grasp on whether it is a good deal or not. So if something comes across your desk, you're ready to pull the trigger on it with a little bit of homework, and you're always going to do due diligence. But the more of those types of deals that come across your table, the more ready you can just be to make a move. Because if it is a good deal, other people are going to be looking at it too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Somebody's going to take advantage of it.
And they're trying to give me the priority on it because, I mean, I was playing. That's where I lived before I moved to Utah, the early '90s, late '80s. So that's like my little stomping grounds. So like we've had multiple offers. People come in, they bring their dogs from wherever, and they want to buy the property. But they're like, we'll at least want to give you a shot, see if it makes sense for you, and if not, then they're just going to sell it.
Have you guys looked into? I haven't looked into this yet, but I have a friend. He's actually my real estate agent that got me the house down here. His name's Eric. Great guy. I actually want to have him come on this podcast at some point, or at least come hang out with us for like Tactical Tuesday or some bullshit like that. He's a cool guy. He'd mesh well. But he's been investing. He's a heavy hitter in real estate. He's closing. He's wheeling and dealing. Wheeling and dealing.
Here in Utah?
Here in St. George at Red Rock Realty. Big hitter. So, Eric, if you're listening to this, dude, what's up, dog? But anyway,
What's up, Eric?
he's been investing in storage units.
Storage units. Absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, phenomenal, huge. But he's saying there's just high returns on that, and it's a little less. I would imagine it's a little less risky than even like having renters or tenants. I mean, apartment complex is probably the way to go because like you were saying, that's a huge.
Pretty secure.
200 and what doors?
237 doors.
237 doors. So even if half of them leave from financial difficulty, you can still cover the mortgage. Awesome. But same kind of concept he was explaining to me about the storage facility.
Storage units.
Yeah.
Yep.
And there were some studies. Did I tell you about that fund that I just invested in, the Axia fund?
Axia.
With
Is that Roman?
I saw the stuff like with
Yeah.
Dave Allred and everything, but
So
I
Dave
don't quite know
Allred,
exactly what it
Aaron
is.
Wagner, and they're partnered up with a couple other guys too, like some guys that have been doing real estate for a long time, and it's cool being around these guys and just hearing them and how confident they are in some of these asset classes, like apartments. That's the word is out on apartments,
Yeah.
but the storage units maybe not so well known. And then another one that they're talking about is the RV parks, like especially.
and that's what I was going to bring up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I knew. So when I lived in northern Colorado for a little bit, this guy who's one of our customers, so I think it was Verizon. So this guy inherited this land from his parents. Verizon comes along. They make a 15-year contract where they pay him $9,000 a month to have a tower on his property.
Okay.
And then he turns it into RV and boat storage. And he made, I think we did the math, it was about $18,000 a month that he gets in passive income from this property that he inherited from his parents. Put a cell tower on it, have some RV and boat parking, and then he's got that passive income.
That's rad.
And so minimal management for it. And he's even got his house right there at the front.
And it was passed down from his parents.
His parents.
That's
Yep,
crazy.
He inherited
So
it.
not all of us have a chance to
Not
take
everybody.
an inheritance like that.
That's
Some
dope.
of us have to go out and fucking work hard.
But just to have that little piece of land, him to generate
Yeah.
$18,000
That
a
was a
month.
smart
It's like
move.
an acre.
Yeah, smart.
and he probably just lucked into making a smart
Yeah.
move like that.
No,
With
yeah, absolutely.
experience and mama's money.
Yeah.
That's a little
Yeah.
bit of luck.
I mean,
And
there's
maybe some
sometimes
good karma too.
Yeah,
Yep.
if you're going to get an inheritance that's good like that, like it's either lucky or maybe you listen to the right people and you
Yep.
walk into it.
Yep.
But like knowing what to do with wealth is huge. Like we were talking about that with Hunter today, or the other day, the Emperor of America, that homeless guy
Yeah.
who was like the heir to some English wealth way back in the day. He shares my last name too. I won't say it on the air because it's a sacred name to me. It's my last name.
Norteños.
Norteños. Norteños. No, but anyway, he squandered the wealth on a dumb business decision. It's like going all in on a poker game, it sounds like.
Yeah.
So anyway, he loses his wealth and then ends up being the self-proclaimed emperor of the United States. This is why we need Hunter on here just to ramble off.
Oh, we're
about
gonna
it.
have Hunter.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hunter.
That's gonna be a
We're gonna have-
We'll just
Paul-
we'll have people like on Facebook or whatever, give him a topic and let him riff on it.
trivia.
Yeah, trivia, and he'll
Riff.
it's textbooks in his
We
brain.
got any questions coming in on Facebook?
No.
About real estate?
What are your questions, guys? We'll answer all of them.
But I think I kind of cut you off. Were you have something to finish about those asset classes?
Oh, so yeah, the 3 asset classes that they're focusing on in this Axia fund were the apartment buildings and the RV parks.
Oh.
Because of like the new climate that we're in, and people are, they're wanting to get out. Like I'm one of those people. It's like I don't even fucking want to go anywhere anymore.
Yeah.
Go anywhere anymore.
That's how you say that.
Because I mean, now it's like I've got to stir shit every fucking place that I go about not wanting to wear a mask, and people tell me to wear a mask, and I got to tell them all these fabrications so I can get away with not wearing a mask.
Yeah. I started telling people like, I just have this rare condition where I'm not sick. It's the weirdest thing. I'm just healthy.
Yeah,
I don't wear. I
rare.
can't wear a mask because I'm
It's
not
rare
sick.
these days.
It's rare.
But then the other one was the storage units. So the RV parks, if you guys notice in St. George especially, every single RV park is completely slammed.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yep.
And
It
RV
always has
storage,
been.
completely slammed. So a lot of these people, even if they're only storing it in an RV park, that's the only place you can put your damn RV if you don't have a place to put it. So they're renting a slot with sewer and water and electrical just so they have a place to keep their freaking RV.
Yeah.
So it's changed. And then the institutional lending on RV storage or RV parks has also changed too, because they're seeing where the interest is and where the economy is going.
So they're making like zoning easier for it, or?
No, I think that they're like, it used to not be something that you could get lending on. Like
Gotcha.
if you got a big old piece of property that's got 75 slots for RVs, there's only a certain type of investor that can go invest in that, because you used to not be able to get the type of funding that you would be able to get on storage units or mobile home parks or apartment buildings, because those were well-known, like
the lending
cash flow producing.
Lending institutions are all about tradition. Mm-hmm. Like you got these old guys that have been sitting on money forever, and they're just like, that's new to me. No. It's a new idea.
There's a lot of that.
No.
And there's a new generation coming in, but there's still a lot of old dogs.
Yeah, a lot of old dogs.
Holdover.
A lot of old ideology, like ways to think. Like, we were just talking about that the other day, like with Mikey Lucas coming out to JKR. Shout out to him, by the way. And then teaching us on, his methods, and then talking to Dave Allred. It's like the new normal is to play the money game smart and get rich quick, and then grow your net worth quickly, faster, do it better. But in the old days, like my parents and your parents, is like that generation was like, get rich slow so you can retire with a bunch of money.
Yeah, just lack of education.
Yeah, and that was what was taught to them, and that's what they tried to teach to us. And then the internet changed all of our lives. Like, hey, it's not 1980 anymore.
Thank the good Lord.
Yeah, it's not the 80s.
That's a good point, dude, because when I was growing up, I was talking about this earlier at dinner too. Like our parents, God bless them, they were using what they had and what they had been taught to raise us. And as you grow up, 37 this month, you start to realize that we were watching our parents grow up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right?
And now your kids are watching you.
I'm still watching my parents grow up.
Yeah.
And then
some of us still are.
The amount of information we have, like that hit us in the 90s with the internet, and then early 2000s when we were, in our youth still, teenage years, all of us here. Just the amount of new ideas and information that just hit us like a tidal wave.
Well, yeah, because you look back, so we were all born in the 80s. So, we grew up without technology, maybe had a Nintendo.
I thought a Game Boy was awesome.
Yeah.
It is.
Exactly.
Still.
Absolutely.
But since then,
we were too broke to have Game Boys. You
Yeah.
fuckers.
I stole
we
the
had,
neighbors.
we had the old school Nintendo. We had it for about 10 years. And I actually saw it in a house the other day. I was like, "You got to blow in it to make it work?" He's like, "Yeah, every time."
Dude.
Yeah.
You got to blow
Yeah.
some heat in there.
Yeah, because he had the actual console. Because they do little mini ones that are preloaded with a bunch of games. My kids have
Like
it.
hundreds of games in those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's super fun because I'll get on there and play some Double Dragon or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Contra.
Yeah.
Some Mario Brothers.
Yeah, Mario Brothers
Dude,
3.
Star Fox on Nintendo was like groundbreaking.
But then you see how fast it moves to where, and it's cool because we basically, our generation, I mean, they'll look back and they'll study it, not just because of the old 2020 thing, but just how fast technology came along. I mean, we go from house phones to cell phones, no internet to internet. I mean, just everything that we know. And then you get guys that are just a little bit younger, you know, guys maybe 10 years younger. And, I mean, YouTube, they had YouTube when they were a kid. I had fucking YouTube when I was a kid. You know, it's just weird, just the perspective of all of it.
So, that's why, like, the amount of social ideas, almost every industry is able to share and communicate at such a rapid rate. Instant gratification, instant information, instant knowledge. It's almost made everything of the old, like our older parents' generation, almost everything is obsolete. Like, college is still useful, but is it as much of like a necessity? Absolutely not. It's almost worthless.
It's like a hindrance almost.
Yeah, and it's turned into a Ponzi scheme.
The time and the money that you put into it.
Exactly.
And you get people in their 40s that still have paying off medical debt. I mean, I just went to work. You know, maybe in a different life I would have went to college, but I had a great opportunity out of high school, being an iron worker down in Las Vegas. Started on my 19th birthday making $45 an hour. So I look at that money now compared to what I make slanging these winders.
Yeah.
Slanging.
And we're bringing 19, 20-year-olds in, and that's their story. Instead of an iron worker, they're going to be telling the story of, I had an opportunity at 19 years old, got introduced to a group of fellows, Jkr Windows, and taught me how to sell windows. And I go from working at the grocery store to making $15,000, $20,000 a month, not even know what to do with myself.
Yeah, like Tristan. He's a young gun.
Yeah, or even, you know,
handsome new haircut.
Like Hunter as a coordinator.
Yeah.
You know, he made probably at least $10,000 last month. I don't know. I didn't do the math, but that boy made some money.
Yeah.
And he's young, and it's awesome to see how far he's gone already in terms of his development.
Confidence level.
Oh, yeah, confidence, man. He sits back in his chair in the morning jump starts, and he's nothing but confidence, especially when he starts getting his fun facts going.
Yeah.
Dude, the brothers Erickson. Well, we should back up. We'll talk about the Ericksons all the time on this podcast. Let's be honest, but we should back up. Let's talk about JKR. So people who are tuning in, who know of Jeff, who know of this, like, what is JKR Windows? Because we don't just sling windows; we sling windows all day, every day. Let's let Jeff go off. Tell us, what is JKR? What's your vision? What's the secondary goal?
No, to be honest with you, when I started, I was originally going to call it Hero Windows. I've told you guys this.
Yeah.
I was so excited about Hero Windows.
Question: if that was our name and we were going door to door, would we wear capes?
Dude, I can't remember what my concept was, but it was really compelling. When I was telling myself what it was going to be, I was like,
I'd wear
Hero,
a fucking cape.
and this is what it's going to be.
I think we'd wear capes.
And then
we'd wear capes and masks, but only to cover our eyes.
yeah, not healthy masks.
Like Batman masks.
Conceal identity. Yeah, yeah. Where are the drugs? Yeah.
No,
Sorry,
but
go ahead.
lost my train of thought now.
So Hero Windows.
Hero Windows.
So Hero Windows. And I think an important thing in business when you come up with a business idea is to test it. Like, we all think our ideas are the fucking shit.
Yep.
But if you're not willing to go out and ask people and you just go get your ass handed to you because you made a stupid decision or you name your business something stupid, it's your own fault. So I went and asked a couple of people. Like, I was excited. I had created logos. I went to my friend Tyson Bone and had him writing up logos for me, and we were like this close to calling this thing Hero Windows. And then everybody that I showed it to did one of those. And after I got that like 5 or 6 times, I was like, damn it, that was such a good idea. I thought, so we ended up calling it JKR Windows. So I'm the oldest of 4 boys. My mom named us all with the same initials, JKR. And originally it was just me. So I started this thing. It was me by myself, did everything. I was the sales, I was the admin, I was the operations, I was the payroll. Everything for the first year, I did every bit of it.
And what year was that?
So that was April 6th, 2018 was the first contract I wrote for one of my dad's friends that I'd been holding out. I was like, hold on. We got like another month, turned it into 2 months. And then he was ready. So as soon as I had all my licensing, went and wrote the contract. He was our first deal. And it was a new construction job.
Oh, nice.
On his cabin. So, but then fast forward, it was me and my buddy Chris Goodman. He was 30 days out of rehab for heroin. And still clean today, 3 years later, still clean. God bless you, Chris. I love you. Hope
See
you're still
good.
doing good. See good.
I don't know you,
I know.
but that's awesome.
Yep, he'll come say hi one of these days. He used to work upstairs, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he tried to actually recruit me to go up there when we first moved back here.
Yeah.
Yeah. My ex, who I was with at the time, she had ran into him, and he got my phone number, started texting me and everything. But timing wasn't right.
Nope, timing wasn't right because it was working in JKR's favor. That's how we ended up with J-Rod.
Absolutely.
Perfect timing. But I ended up, that first year, 18 months, I would tell the story and let people know that it's a family business. JKR is my initials, and it's also the initials of my little brothers. They all work for me. They didn't work for me at the time. But I basically would talked about it so much and had created so much momentum and such a cool thing that started with just me and Chris tagging along with me, didn't have his driver's license, and same type of stuff that we still do today, just on a much bigger scale, just talking about goals and aspirations and doing something and staying sober. Me and him were both getting sober at the same time. For me, it had been 3 months. For him, it had been like 30 days.
Sober from what?
So heroin was a little bit more serious, but, I'd been drinking, smoking pot since I was 13 years old, almost continuously, really good at it too.
So you were like a professional
I was like a
I can concur with
professional
that.
party guy.
professional guy on the couch.
I've seen the professional party Jeff.
Yeah,
He was a fun guy most of the time.
pretty serious. You get too much whiskey in me and I can get a little angry.
Did you know what else is a fun guy?
Fungus among
Mushroom.
us.
A mushroom.
Yep.
Did you do shrooms?
I did some mushrooms a couple of times.
That's a fun guy. Get
Yep.
it? It's a
He
joke.
was a fun guy.
I'm not even
So-
a dad, and I came up with that.
You got some sweet dad jokes. We were just talking about this. You can be a fantastic dad, dude.
Oh, thanks,
Yep.
man.
Got the jokes
Great,
on deck.
great bedtime stories, great dad jokes.
I'm
Come on, Mallory.
probably shooting blanks.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't know.
Probably.
They have procedures for that.
Anyway, sorry.
So here we are 3 years later. Now we went from zero to producing $10 million in revenue in 2020. Pretty
Damn.
exciting how fast things can happen when you're focused and you got a mission and you're providing a good quality service for people and you're fucking proud of what you do.
Yeah.
And you
And-
build a team.
And we
to do
build
it.
a strong team and create an environment for people to show up to and be a part of that changes people's lives.
Yeah.
And that's what I was kind of alluding to was it started right there with Chris, and I knew I was onto something when I ran into Chris just by my freaking good luck. This happens to me all the time. It was perfect timing in his life, in my life, and we meshed really well for where we were at. And he made a big turnaround. And if you ask him still today, he'll tell you that time in his life while he was trying to get sober and stay committed to his mission at being able to share his story and help other people get sober, it was us together talking about staying busy and keeping the white space on the calendar filled up and having goals and making money and doing something with our lives. And now we just do that every single morning in the Jumpstart meetings,
Yeah.
talking about some inspirational stuff and where we're all at with our goals. And now I've got all three of my little brothers working with me, manifested the shit out of that, and recruited my mom to come run the office for me. And now we've got a huge office staff, but she was the very first one. I taught her all that crazy stuff that I was doing. I taught her how to do it all.
She even knocked doors for a little bit.
Yep.
What she was
Yep.
saying.
So she knows this business almost as well as I do because she's done every aspect of it except for going in and closing deals. And then I've got my dad also that goes out and is probably one of our very best installers, but he's slowing down a little bit on the installs, and he's now doing all the measurements for us.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty phenomenal.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Living life by design.
And even when I started, I mean,
What's up, Mitch?
we only had
Talk about that incentive that you bring to your people and how that just brings everyone to like makes it a fucking team, dude. You're building a fucking empire that
Oh.
everyone's a part of.
He wants you to talk about your people building aspects.
The people building.
People
So yeah,
development company.
We just so happen to sell windows. It's about
we go
building
off on
people.
our tangents, but
Yeah.
that was the first thing that crossed my mind as you were giving me the intro to JKR Windows. Is we are a people development company, and we just so happen to sell windows.
Yeah.
That's where we get all of our fulfillment from every day, is watching these kids come in here, or people from any walk of life. We got Joel, that guy that's he's passionate about teaching kids how to read.
Mm-hmm.
But when he came in here that day and was a part of our jumpstart, it is bringing some fire back out into this man that's 48 years old. He wants to go knock some doors with us and be a part of the JKR mission.
Yep. Because he knows that he can have conviction in what he's selling, and that we're going to follow up and we're going to deliver on it. And that was what I explained to him in that room.
Yep.
He's asked me about the install, how we go about it. And I just let him know, like, look, from point A to point B, everything in between, the follow-ups, we try to do the best that we can. And there's a reason why we have so many 5-star Google reviews, is because we're treating our customers right. Mm-hmm. So you can have the conviction and you can stand behind your product. And, you know, him coming from pest control and the different things that he had to deal with that, I mean, he had that uncertainty with I think with what he was selling.
That integrity or lack of integrity makes a big impression on people, and kind of determines whether or not they want to stay a part of something, or if they could see themselves being a part of something. Mm-hmm. And our core values are consistency, dependability, and commitment to excellence. And we do those really well.
Yeah.
And our integrity is at a high, and that's something that we try and teach to our people too, is not only integrity from the outside and how you present yourself, but also that integrity with yourself.
Yeah, I think I would submit that's more important, and that's what's lacking in a lot of society and a lot of jobs and a lot of companies. Is everyone knows how to use integrity and how to be a good, honest person with each other, but then I catch myself all the time lying to myself, giving myself little passes, little excuses. You know, I have zero self. Well, not zero. I have little self integrity, and it's growing more and more. Right.
Keeping those little promises to yourself.
Yeah, and
every day.
Like I was saying, like I'm really good at the outward integrity and being, honest and being accountable to other people. That's what I thrive in, because for those of you that don't know me, I was in the military for a while, and so that's what I thrived in, is that team environment where it wasn't me. I got out of bed for my homies, for the guys next to me, and then a lot of guys in the military will get out, and that camaraderie goes away. And they're just by themselves. And we don't know how to do the solo game. And I don't think a lot of people in society do. The people that are successful, higher operating individuals like Jeff, and like the people you're rubbing shoulders with, like Brad Lee, Dave Allred, like all the guys that we've met since I've been here, and you've been bumping shoulders with, those guys are highly disciplined individuals. And we listen to those guys because they have that self-integrity. And that's been a huge eye-opener since I've started here. I used to think myself as a good character and high integrity, but I was failing myself. I wasn't failing other people. I have nightmares about that. It's stressful as fuck.
Letting somebody down.
Yeah, you never let your teammates down. You're always there for them. And that's what haunts a lot of guys with PTSD that I've talked to and that I know have it. And they're like, I feel like I let this guy down, or I didn't do my job well enough, or I made a bad decision. And it's a very personal weight that they carry because they feel like they let the team down.
Absolutely.
And so I thrive in those environments, and there's a lot of that here with JKR, but we're all doing individual sales, So it's kind of the mix of both worlds. But yeah, that individual integrity is what I've been lacking. Not fully, but it's I need to improve it a ton.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
It's my life.
It's an important thing,
we're
especially
all a
to
work
have
in
that
progress,
perspective.
Yeah. So it's been awesome just growing. I feel like I've grown in since I started in September. Here we are, January. So.
Yeah, that's the kind of environment that we want to cultivate, is to create that kind of perspective. Because anywhere else you go work, when are they talking about this kind of stuff? And we talk about this on a daily basis with our people to bring awareness and help them start making those little incremental changes in their life that, first of all, are going to help them realize what they have to work on just from being around some other good dudes, seeing where other people are at, and not really comparing them you know, we don't recommend comparing yourself to other people, but at least gives you a gauge of what you need to work on with yourself. Comparing yourself to the best version of yourself and just putting in some work today to become a better version tomorrow.
It allows you to see the path. I mean, if we look at your brother, Justin, he's kind of like the number 2 or 3 at JKR.
Yep.
In as far as like seniority and the hierarchy. Top salesman by far. Just hauled in an ass load. Like we're talking like an ass load. Like the biggest ass you've ever imagined. That load. That's how many awards he got. Did you know that? It was an ass load of awards.
Load of awards, yeah.
Yeah, he got a ton of awards.
He earned them with a lot of hard work.
Yeah, dude knows how to sling windows. And like that, I'm like, if I compare myself to Justin, I'm like, oh shit, you know, I suck. But I'm like, oh well, hold up there, Tiger. Mm-hmm. Let's step back and just
Don't
look.
do that to yourself.
That's the path. Like I was telling you the other day, like I know where I want to be because I know I can get there because I saw Justin do it all last year. But I'm like, oh man, I'm not there yet. And I just got, I still got to walk the path, even though I know where it's going. You know, I know it's possible.
Just those little incremental steps forward every day.
Like Frodo, I got to carry my ring to Mordor. Are you gonna Sam's? I don't have Sam. Sam's not gonna help me, even though Sam was the real hero. That's another topic. Okay. But anyway, Justin's a great example. There's a lot of good examples at JKR. That's my point.
Well, and like for me specifically, it's like the more little stuff that I'm doing to improve myself just as a person, it's a direct reflection of my paycheck. The more on it I am, it's just a presence that I bring when I'm on top of my shit, and people just say yes.
That's that momentum, big
It's that
mo,
momentum.
buddy.
Yep.
I've heard you guys say that a lot, actually. It's your personal habits, and at first I thought it was just, oh, that's a cool quote. Mm-hmm. Like I bet someone put that on a doily.
Yeah.
No, that's real.
Operating on a higher frequency.
No, I've seen it unfold, and I agreed with it when I heard you say it, but I was like, it's cool to see. It's cool to see and feel.
That's what we're seeing with some of these guys that have some momentum right now, that are sitting back in their chair with their arms folded and a little grin on their face.
Yeah, a little
They got some momentum right now, and they don't realize right now, because they haven't been through the ups and downs yet, how easy that is to lose when you get a little bit comfortable.
It is. I'm walking proof of that. I mean, I was on a high horse a couple weeks ago, and I'm not off the horse. It's just a lull, and I'm like, oh. And there's an ebb and flow to life.
There is.
You're gonna be up,
With
you're gonna
everything.
be down. The key is it's just to make, instead of these huge arcs like this, you just want it to be nice and steady.
Yep.
And just let it go naturally. So you're not like, oh my God, I won the lottery, and then you're like, oh my God, I lost all 12 of my houses. You know, It's not that dramatic. You just want it to stay like right there.
Yep.
That
Consistency
smooth
and
jazz
getting,
zone.
as Jeff would say, 1% better every day.
Yep.
You know, and with numbers, I mean, some of it's a numbers game. You know, things are going to trend a certain way. Like we've had an abnormal amount of cancellations lately, but it's not always like that. You know. And then we'll go months without any, you know. But then when you look at it over the span of 6 months, it's a normal amount of cancellations. It just kind of got bunched up.
Yeah.
And maybe it doesn't
feel like
all have to do with the COVID either, because if you remember last March,
When
you started, we also had a record month of cancellations. It
Yep.
also was our best month ever in revenue.
Yep.
But
And that's all I've ever known is COVID as it relates to knocking doors. I started March 13th, Friday the 13th, March 13th, the day everything shut down. And I set 8 appointments my first day. All of them canceled. COVID. So it was
scared to death.
It was interesting.
That was a tough, scary, and defining month also, because instead of retreating and contracting, we all went fucking all in.
Yeah, and you know when you mentioned Jeff's like the you know the Viking captain or whatever, peering off into the storm because he sees the vision. I mean, he led us through that because none of us really knew how to take it, and guys were like, "Oh, I don't know," and Jeff's just like, "Look, everybody's retracting. We're gonna fucking grow. We're gonna push. We're gonna make this thing happen until they actually physically make us stop." And that's what we did, and we just pushed and pushed, and we grew 500%.
500%.
Say
it with me.
500%, baby.
$2
and we
million.
all know a lot of people who did contract and continued to contract and make excuses why, and use it as an excuse.
Yeah.
And we used it as an excuse to grow 500%.
Yep, 2 million to 10 million.
I was in corporate sales when that happened, and we were working from home, like at a computers, and we retracted. It was like weird.
Everybody was scared. dude.
Yeah, and
Everybody
you guys
was
were
scared.
going face to face, door knocking, and
When it
did
was-
not retract.
And maybe it's a little different in Utah than other places. I
Yeah.
can't imagine you'd be able to get away with the same thing
Oh,
in
absolutely.
New Jersey.
Utah's a great climate
Right.
for good business.
When I
So,
remember
yeah.
listening to Sam Taggart, he was talking to Jordan Belfort on Jordan's podcast, and they're talking about door to door, and Jordan was like, "Yeah, but nobody's really knocking right now." And Sam was like, "I got guys in Utah that are killing it right now."
He was referring to JKR
JKR Windows.
JKR Windows.
Yep. Wolf of Wall Street knows us. No, not really, but knows of us.
Not yet.
Yeah.
He's next, one of the next on the list. We got to get him in here.
Yep.
Yep. That'd be cool.
Right on, boys. Where I think we are coming to an end here.
Yeah, what's our time?
50.
We're at 50. Oh, we got
50 minutes.
Yeah, you think we can go 10 more? Well, let's change the topics. Well, let's do something a little lighthearted, or you want to stick with some business? What do you want? These are my topics. I had my number one topic. You guys were like busting out. We were writing down our topics, and then I wrote down these, and then you're like, let's talk about real estate. My topics, let's talk about dinosaurs.
I like
Legos.
dinosaurs. I like paleontology.
Yeah, and my next topic was Legos, and then my most nostalgic foods. And then I was like, okay, you guys are throwing out serious topics. So I'm
You
like,
were
let's-
just like a grown ass kid, dude.
Dude, yeah, fuck yeah. And then I'm like, let's talk about maybe your current mentor. Like mentors could be from any time or
Yes.
era, right? Because we got
Yes.
these quotes. Mine right now is Napoleon Hill. He's been leading me for the past couple of months. I'm just reading his books, just soaking them
Very
in.
important to have mentors.
Oh man.
Yep.
So maybe we could talk about that, or we could talk about dinosaurs or Legos.
Yeah.
Well-
I choose
Those are all
mentors.
the options.
And I asked, let's see, who did I ask this morning what they were reading? Were you guys there?
You asked Jordan, the trainer.
So, yeah, I asked Jordan, but I also asked somebody in the meeting today, too. But I've been asking that question a lot because I'm trying to get people to feel the same thing that I did when I had a friend of mine that I was working with. He asked me what I was reading. I said, bro, I don't read. What the fuck are you talking about?
I just talk about
I
dinosaurs.
was talking to
No,
Vince
not a
about this
nerd.
the other day. And I told him, I remember this like plain as day because it's stuck with me and it's kind of fed this fire. I told him the last book I read was probably in third grade, like intentionally read a book. It was a fucking Goosebumps book.
Hell yeah.
I love Goosebumps.
And you feel the goosebumps right on the cover?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was my shit.
But
But like 60
I think it's
pages.
important. We talk about this, or we have been talking about this in the meeting the last couple of days about making an impact on people's lives and getting them to look at themselves in the mirror a little bit.
Yeah.
And so I asked my trainer this morning what book he's reading. And he's like, he did the same thing that I did. He didn't come right out and say, I don't fucking read books, man.
Was he like Goosebumps?
No, but he said he's been reading books, but he's been kind of taking a break from it. And then I asked Colby. Because Colby, he's got some aspirations. He's trying to figure it out. He's a young punk-ass kid, and he wants to do something. But he hasn't strung enough consistency together to be able to take it to a high level yet. And that's what we're here for as coaches and mentors and the elders in his life, is to try and keep poking him a little bit.
When he gets there, though,
He's
Yeah.
got all the potential in
Dude.
the world.
I
Absolutely.
see the fire in his eyes.
Oh, he's got it. Yeah.
So
Fucking-
the mentor concept is extremely important. Like I've had, over the past couple of years, had some great mentors in my life. Some, weren't so good, like made some positive impacts in my life, but also led me down a road of like partying and considering some pretty dark things. But you bring up a good concept with the mentors, whether they're alive or not. You can
Yeah.
take advantage of these people's knowledge, like Napoleon Hill, Dale Carnegie. These guys have been dead for a long time,
Yeah.
but their messages and their books are timeless.
Yep. They hold up.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, so we have books and we also have podcasts as well. So there's these resources. If you don't necessarily have those people in your life, you can still get that information,
Yeah.
just some sort of guidance with just being on the path, man. And I feel like I got a ton, so far to go, but I know I'm on the right path. I'm getting there, and whatever happens. I'm so thankful to be where I'm at this point in my life with my mentality, how I feel about myself, the value I have in myself, my projections for the future. I mean, it's never been better than it is right now,
Yeah.
and it's only going to get better.
Absolutely.
I have to agree with that because like I get a little frustrated with myself because I like to run. You know, I like to skip the crawl, the walk, and then I like to just get to running.
Like most people do.
Yeah, but real, if we're talking physical running, obviously,
Yeah, not that.
I'm not a runner.
No.
Okay, but I like to get off the ground and go with whatever I'm doing or whatever I'm focused on. So I have to kind of pull back on the reins, you know, and be like, hey, this is going to take time. But I couldn't
Got to
agree more.
enjoy the process, my friend.
Yeah, it's the journey, right?
The journey.
Yeah.
Got to crawl before you bow, dog.
Well, so what other things? Crawl before you bow.
Crawl before you bow.
You gotta. I don't know. What else we got? But anyway, Napoleon Hill, great mentor.
Yeah.
Are we doing on time?
55.
Okay, yeah, we got a couple more minutes.
And there's a bunch of shit in between here that once we condense this thing out, we can chop some of it out too.
Oh, absolutely. Right? Yeah, we'll have Mitch do his work and get some good highlights of each podcast. And then if you guys are listening on Facebook, I'm sure there's millions of you already. But you guys can give us some ideas. We're looking for names of the podcast. This is our first one. This is kind of like a session 0, right? We just got set up. We're like, let's give this thing a whirl. It's like you don't
let it rip.
Yeah, if you build a
We'll
model,
figure the rest out
airplane,
later.
Yeah, we just built a car. You got to take it for a test drive. And we'll build a more structured podcast, and hopefully be scheduling out some guests. I would imagine, so you can get some big hitters.
Yeah,
on
we
here.
got some big names on the agenda. So this is a temporary setup too. So we're moving offices down the hall, but then we've outgrown this space that we have here.
Yeah.
And so we're going to be moving into a new building, I imagine, within the next couple of months, and specifically looking for a little space where we can set up and keep a podcast studio set up. So we're just ready to roll. You can walk in. If a guest is there, hey, bro, I got the podcast studio set up.
Yeah.
You got an extra hour? Let's do a podcast.
So are you going to set one up in the Draper office as well?
I'll have like a traveling kit probably for
And
the
just use
Draper
that for that
office.
one?
Yeah, I think eventually, if whatever situation pops up, but if you had 2 concrete, cemented, stationary.
I think you're right, dude. If we're serious about this, we've got one set up there and here.
Right.
Because we're going to be spending a lot of time up there. And
And it's a
there's some big names up there.
Yeah, it's a metropolitan area. You have people visiting,
International airport,
Absolutely.
fine dining.
Okay, you convinced me.
Let's do it.
Sold. So Draper office is next. We got to set up a
I know.
podcast.
So what book are you reading right now, Blake?
Right now I'm reading Think and Grow Rich, like just on the first page. Like
So you're on the Napoleon Hill kick because you just got done reading Outwitting the Devil also.
Outwitting the Devil, man. That book, honestly, that book changed my life.
Did you
Absolutely.
listen to the Audible version of it yet?
Wait, yeah, the devil's got a cheeky little voice. He has
Because you
does
read
it? I haven't
read
heard
it
the
and
audio.
listened to it. You got to listen to it.
I should listen to it too.
Yeah.
I actually I'm a little old school. I like turning pages. I like feeling
I do
the
too.
paper.
I like collecting books too. My wife is a little irritated with me because I got books collecting everywhere because we don't have any bookshelves. Okay, so maybe she's done being irritated with me now because we've moved.
You've moved.
But
It feels
I've
good
got
to have
this.
a book, though.
I
where,
love
like,
books, man.
It's like you're
Love books.
sophisticated.
It makes me feel sophisticated just
Yeah.
holding on to that thing like I'm learning something, just having access to this.
Yeah.
I like to be like the rural sophisticated with my books. Like I'll put on some suspenders. I'll go walk through a field and eat an apple right off the tree
And you're
and just look at my book. Just like
there's
that.
some good knowledge in this book. Really digging this.
That's the level of sophistication.
J-Rod, what are you reading right now?
Outwitting the Devil.
Are you?
Yeah, we just swapped them.
Yeah.
No way.
So I actually borrowed it from Blake. So I'm only
yeah.
a couple chapters in.
Have you seen my notes yet?
No.
Okay, I scribbled some stuff in
Did
there
you?
every now and then.
Are you guys
Yeah.
listening to one also on Audible?
I'm listening to The Richest Man in Babylon.
Dude, love that book.
Yeah, I just started it though, like yesterday.
It's pretty short. It's worth listening to twice. So the ones I'm reading Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey, and it's kind of one of those breath of fresh air books because I've been reading personal development like solid for years and years and years. And I keep telling myself that I want to take a break and read something that's just kind of refreshing and light and that you can really get into. And this book, you guys got to read it, dude. And I just got a couple recommendations that you got to listen to it too, because Matthew McConaughey narrates his own book, and the guy's he's got some charisma.
Yep. Oh, dude, his voice is really iconic.
What's funny is you've always kind of reminded me of Matthew McConaughey.
I've gotten that before.
Have you? Even the voice too, or like in what was it, Dazed and Confused? He's like, "You smoke weed? Be a lot cooler if you did." And that just reminds me of like old school fucking Jeffro back in the day. That's funny.
Yep. And you know what? I kind of pushed back on that for a long time when I was developing that new persona and started introducing myself as Jefferson. And it kind of weirded me out for a couple of years when people called me Jeffro, because I was in that phase of like completely shifting all of my attention towards personal development and keeping all the white space filled on the calendar and positivity. But, you know, ultimately it's who I am. It's part of my past. It's what has led me to this point in my life. And I ran into this other girl tonight. You remember Kaylee Shelley? Mm-hmm. So I introduced myself in front of her to a couple of people as Jefferson. And then after she like nudges me, she's like, Jefferson? She's like, I can never call you Jefferson. You're always going to be Jeffro to me.
I call you all three, Jeff, Jefferson, and Jeffro.
Yep.
But, you know, today it was kind of funny. I was talking to your mom, and she's like, yeah, Jeffro. And I was like, even his mom calls him Jeffro. So, I mean, yeah, it's official.
It's official. And, the other book I'm reading is The 12 Rules for Life by Jordan Peterson. That's the one I'm listening to. So I've usually always got one that I'm reading and one that I'm listening to when I'm on the road.
Is it Jordan Peterson's voice?
Uh-huh.
Or something? Okay.
Yep. He's got a really cool voice. I can't remember where he's from, but he's
Canada.
Is he from Canada?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've listened to a ton of podcasts with him. He's kind of got a certain way that he talks. Certain.
Yeah, I don't.
He's got a rhythm.
I also do. I do some consulting with a group from Canada, and he must have some kind of like the French Canadian connection with Jordan Peterson, because he has a different.
And he's also just so smart and so just like
very articulate. Yes.
Articulate.
Absolutely.
Is the exact word. Yeah, super articulate, and you could tell pretty much everything that he's saying. He's already said before. I mean, it's already preloaded. Mm-hmm. He's got it all.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I listened to a bunch, and obviously Joe Rogan, but he's done a podcast with Jocko as well. That was pretty good.
Mm-hmm. So, let's wrap up with the next books on the radar. Have you guys been eyeballing some that you guys want to read next?
I'm gonna reread Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink.
Mm-hmm.
That was another like huge eye opener for me, and I wish I had read that earlier in my time in the Marine Corps.
Yeah,
I'd heard people talk about it, and just
great book.
I wasn't into reading books back then. Thought I knew all the answers. I thought it was hot shit.
Have you read that one?
No,
Extreme
I thought I was
Ownership.
reading it because it was one I downloaded, but it was
Dichotomy?
leadership strategies and tactics.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I read that one, but
That
it was all
by Jocko also?
Yep. So it's just on my phone. I liked it because I just get on there, I had my page saved, and then I just read at least 10 pages, 10, 15 pages.
I recommend that one though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Extreme Ownership, phenomenal book.
Yeah.
And then I followed it up with the next one he wrote was Dichotomy of Leadership. Mm-hmm. Not nearly as good as Extreme Ownership.
Good info.
And I think maybe it was because I physically read Extreme Ownership, and my imagination works a lot better. Like when I'm hearing the stories about the war and the bombs going off and hiding behind walls, like my imagination is working phenomenal because I'm just like there by myself
reading it
and being able to do that. And then I listened to Dichotomy of Leadership, and everybody absorbs and learns and retains information differently. And it was completely different. So I bought Dichotomy, and I'm probably going to reread it also physically, because the difference between listening to those two books and reading them was such a different experience. But
Yeah.
Extreme
I'll have to
Ownership,
try that out.
Does Jocko
Do the
narrate
flip-flop.
that one?
he does.
Because I like his
Both
voice,
of 'em.
but I hear it could get like kind of ear fatiguey.
Huh.
In the war. Anyway, Campbell's soup is like, you know.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what he's talking about. It's like that's just Jocko Willink.
Yep.
It's awesome voice.
I kind of like it though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And especially like I listened to this one podcast, it's The Raping of Nanking. It's pretty heavy shit. Yeah, pretty heavy shit.
Haven't heard of that one.
But you can tell it's heavy shit. But you can just tell like there's a little bit of emotion in his voice when he's talking about some of it. Like I'd recommend listening to it. Absolutely.
Right on. What about you, Blake? You got another book on the radar?
The Extreme Ownership's on there, and then I can't remember the other one. It's on
I
my
already
desk.
asked you, didn't I?
I think the
Yeah, you
next,
already asked me.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
you
think the
already
next
asked me.
hardback, because I have the ABCs of Closing.
Yeah, I was like, oh, we're doing
by Sam
2 or
Taggart.
$3. Oh.
So I have that as a hard, I have the hard copy. So I'm probably going to finish up the Outwitting the Devil and then just go through that one. And then usually I like to read and listen to separate books. So I'm not sure what I'll pick next after Babylon. Maybe I'll listen to the Extreme Ownership and then try out reading it too.
I just got, it's the biggest book that I got. I just got it in the mail the other day. It's a life story of Ulysses S. Grant.
Ulysses.
And it was actually, it was a book that was recommended at the end of another book. And so I pulled the trigger on it. And this one was, what was the name of that book that I just told you guys? Oh, The Obstacle is the Way. That's another fantastic one I just got done listening to. The Obstacle is the Way. And that was where, for the first time, I had really started to understand some of the concepts and philosophies of Stoicism.
Nice.
Because
Yeah,
we've been
we were
talking about it,
that.
right?
Yep,
But
it's been a
obstacle
theme.
is the
Yeah.
way.
And the brothers
And it keeps
Erickson.
coming up from the brothers.
The brothers Erickson know about a lot about
But
Stoicism.
at the end of that book, Ryan Holiday is the author, and he gives a couple of recommendations. That was one of them. And they did kind of a podcast interview at the end of that Audible with him and Tim Ferriss.
Yeah, that's who got me into Stoicism.
Yeah.
was
Tim Ferriss.
Tim Ferriss, yep. Mostly Seneca is who he refers to.
And those are some of the other ones that I got was the Seneca and
Marcus Aurelius.
Marcus Aurelius.
Yep, he's a big Stoic.
So I got those on the radar also.
Hey guys, are we a book club?
You know
Is
what
this
I
a
was
book club?
thinking? It would be awesome if we got everybody to actually did a book club
Yes.
and everybody read the same book and then we could riff on it and
Yeah.
see,
Absolutely.
say what we got out of it.
We can have a readathon in the office.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
we'll all lay down
I
under our
think-
desks and eat snacks and read till we fall asleep.
So some of these books, like when you start reading Marcus Aurelius,
Yeah.
I don't have any experience with it yet, but I imagine that's one of those that'll be a little bit difficult if you're doing it by yourself. Nobody else knows. But if we have a book club, maybe not Marcus Aurelius, but something else like that, personal development,
Sure.
you're going to have some incentive to get the thing done quick. When you're reading Matthew McConaughey, Green Lights, you're not going to have any hard time getting through that thing quick because I have a hard time putting that thing down. I got 20 pages left,
Yeah.
and I just started it 5 days ago. I hardly ever get through books that quick. But I like that concept, the book club. We're holding each other accountable, and we've got a date set where we're going over this thing. And if you want to be a part of the conversation, bro, you better read that fucking book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we can wear sweaters and scarves and we'll fucking drink coffee.
We'll
And
puff on little pipes.
Book club.
pipes.
Yep.
Oh, smoking jackets? Yes, of course. Of course.
Dude, that's just where this is going.
Okay. So maybe this is just a book club podcast. Is that what this is?
No, but it can be. It could be a regular episode, like once a month.
Yep.
We just riff on whatever the book we read. So let's do a book of the month,
Yeah.
Yep.
and then we'll do a podcast on it.
Remember,
every
didn't I
month.
just launch a book of the month that I recommended to everybody on the Pronto? I did.
Oh,
Did you?
It was Extreme Ownership.
It was,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'll
Yep.
be goddamn.
That's why it was
Yeah.
on my list.
Yeah.
I'm
It was.
remembering.
See,
That's why it was on my list.
I knew that I had that thought.
God. We remembered.
All right, boys.
Yeah,
remembered.
that'd
Well,
be cool.
I'd say,
I'm going to wear a goddamn smoking jacket and a pipe
No,
for that segment.
no smoking in Jkr Windows.
Oh, it'll just be a pipe. But it's a smoking
He'll have
jacket.
bubbles coming out of it.
Okay.
And we got to get those big ancient
It'll make for a good
antique chairs.
photo op,
we'll
right?
sit in that. Yeah. It's
With
just it's just part of the uniform of the book club podcast.
There we go. Episode 0 in the books.
In the books club.
One of these next couple of podcasts will have a name for this thing. Right now, this is just JKR Windows boys shooting some shit.
Yep. Session 0.
Right
In the
on.
books.
Nice.
Right on.
Oh yeah.
That's
Good time,
it.
boys. Checking out. Until next time.
Peace.
Later.